Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my playthrough of Memoir 44 Breakthrough, Roads of Ruin, the Battle of Bobruisk, part of my um, campaign covering the Battle of Operation Bagration. So, without further ado, let's keep on playing. If you want to have more information on this scenario, I refer you to my other videos on this topic, particularly of course, parts 1 and 2 and the introduction to this scenario. Let's see what would be a good card for the Russians to play. Well, I suppose air power is something they can definitely use at this point. They're throwing 2 dice against these 2 hexes. Let's start with the infantry. That's a flag and a grenade, and in this scenario, flags are also hits. So that's 2 hits, and now against the artillery, and that's a star, which is a hit because of the obviously because of the card itself, and a flag, which is also a hit. So that takes care of the artillery. The Russians are now at 11 medals, and the Germans at 10. And the Russians draw a new card, which is an attack card on the left. The Germans, yeah, they could use that card, but they don't have a unit there anymore. That is a Recon 1 card. They would have some moves, and it will give them a victory medal. They could use an armored assault as well. Probably not the best time to use it. I think I'll play the Recon 1. It's a guaranteed medal, and because of one of the special rules of the scenario, and they'll get, well, not the unit on the left, but 2 on the move, and a medal, as I said. Let's move the tank over here. And another on the move. Maybe the other tank, it's not really in a good position here. So let's move it over here, and maybe we can use it on the next turn. At least they're in better defensive positions. And now, instead of taking 2 new cards, they just take 1, which is a Recon in Force, and they claim another victory medal. And again, to denote those, I use one of the Battlestar tokens because it's a special victory medal for the Deep Battle special rule, which allows the Germans to, instead of taking 2 cards and keeping the best one, simply picking a objective medal, well, it's not an objective medal, a victory medal, for delaying the Russians, basically. That's what it signifies. It's back to the Russians now. What shall they play? Their finest hour might not be a bad idea. 3 on the left is not a bad idea, which they could also use to build a bridge, which will make crossing here a little bit easier, but not that much. But they could move, then, well, you know what? Let's just do that, if for no other reason that you can see how that works. So they're playing this attack card. No, they can't at the time, actually, because normally they could, but I've always found it very strange that you don't need to have a unit adjacent to do so. So whenever I use that rule, that is building pontoon bridges, I always actually want a unit to be adjacent. So that could be an option here to cross here. And yeah, of course, they can cross through a town as well. But for now, let's pick a different one then. Maybe something in the center. 3 in the center and 1 on the move for the Russians. Let's see, this one could move as many as 3. Of course, I want to take that one too. But I will take this move anyway. which, well, technically, no, it's not able to fire anymore then. So let's say that's the on the move. The cavalry also moves 3. Could still fire, but it won't actually have any dice left because it just fires at 2-1. So 2-1 minus 1 for the village is 0. The tanks 1, 2, 3. Could move 4 on the road, but of course now it's blocked by the cavalry, and the artillery is also going to fire. So, so this one can fire, this one could fire, but with 0 dice, so there's not much use there. And the tank throws 1 die. That's a tank, so it's a miss, and 3, 3, 2, so 2 dice against the infantry. That's 1 infantry and 1 star, so 1 hit. Yep, there we go. New card for the Russians. Counterattack, always a nice card to have. And it's back to the Germans. Yeah, this is not the, well, not the armor assault, maybe then. 2 in this section, not a bad idea. 3 in that section, or everything in the middle. Let's do that. All in the middle for the Germans. Artillery is going to fire. Tank is going to fire. This tank, it is a bit of a risky move. Well, it would be a very risky move because then the tanks could just advance again afterwards. That one is going to fire. This one could move over here. It will. That's a move. This tank, at the moment it doesn't see anything, but kind of hesitant to move it out of the cover of the woods here. But let's see. The Germans need to take some risks anyway. Let's move it over here. And this one can do something as well. Let's move it into the village, or actually this is the town of Bobruisk. So let's move it within the town. But of course it can't fire it because moving into a town hex prevents you from firing, and of course everything is too far away as well at the moment. Let's see, well, this one could fire at the tanks, or it can fire at that one, which would be a medal, so let's fire at this one. 2 dice. Yes, that's an infantry. So the Germans score another medal, and the preliminary score is 12 for the Germans at the moment and 11 for the Russians. Well, these 2 can fire, so let's remove them. This tank, this one unit is quite dangerous, and the dice aren't reduced. That's 2 infantry hits. So I was firing at the supported infantry over here, so 2 hits. This one could fire at the cavalry or at the engineers. I'm going to fire at the engineers because they're more dangerous. 3 dice. 2 hits. 2 grenades. And we still have the artillery. 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. No, it's too far away. 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Yeah, let's just fire at the supported infantry. And that's a star, so that's a miss. But oh no, not a bad turn for the Germans, I suppose. And it's back to the Russians. Counterattack wouldn't be a bad idea, of course, all in the center. Well, so let's do that. Counterattack for the Russians. There we go. So they have a number of units they can fire with. Yeah, of course, cavalry is only really useful in the open. Let's see if we can take out this German over here with one die. And then hopefully also taking over the village. So that is one. This one I probably want to move back, so get it out of harm's way a little bit. So this one is retreating into the marshes and more importantly out of range of the Germans. This one could move as many as 4, but does it want to? 1, 2, onto the road. Well, definitely 2. Let's do that. I don't want to move too far away from the supporting units. The artillery could move 2 on the road and still fire. The mobile artillery, that is. It is pretty mobile, as you can see. On a road. This tank is moving off the marsh hex and then has to stop right away. Technically, it could fire, but everything is too far away, so that's why I'm putting a red one here. 1, 2, 3. This tank is moving over here. This one. 1, 2. Yeah, it can fire at that one. This one has to stop moving off the marsh hex. The order should probably be slightly different. Well, it doesn't really matter. So over here, it has to stop. And this one moves into the woods hex and then can also continue moving more freely, probably. And we have 4 armored units here. We have 2 here. So the Germans really need to prevent that potential sudden death from occurring. Yep. And now, of course, we're going to fire. These tanks are going to fire at the German tanks. And that's 2 flags and a grenade. But since in this scenario, flags are treated as hits as well, part of the, I believe, 10th Panzer Division is now destroyed. And the score is 12-12. But the longer the scenario lasts, the more the chances of the Germans are likely to be reduced, as it should be. Well, 1 die, normally 2 dice, but only 1 because of the town here. That's a tank, so the cavalry misses. Not very favorable terrain to operate in. The tanks fire at that one as well with 1 die. They miss as well. It's a star. Well, let's just use the artillery for that then, even though they can also fire at that one, but they would be rolling fewer dice, so 3 dice against this German unit. That's 3 hits, and they only need 1. So the score is now 13-12 for the Russians. And they draw a new card, and it's a Recon 1 card. The Germans, what are they going to do? 1 in each section might not be a bad idea. An attack over here is probably something they want to do as well. Yeah, 3 in each section. This one is a pretty useless card because it gives them dice over here. We have an armored assault left. Let's do 2 in that section and 2 on the move. This unit is going to fire. This unit is going to fire. Yeah, if I move this one up too much, it will really open itself up to an air power card, which again, a Recon 1 card, can also be for the Russians. So don't think I want to have 2 units over here at the same time. Otherwise, that one would be a suitable option, probably. Moving up the artillery perhaps is not a bad idea. Let's try that. So the artillery is moving up. And, well, the tank, well, maybe it should have fired. The Germans really don't have all that many units left. And putting them out into the open is not a great idea. At least it's covering the approaches from the from the German left towards Bobruisk. So let's just leave the other on the move for what it is. So the Germans have to fire again. 3, 2, 1, just one die, but a star would also be a hit, but it's a tank, so that's always a hit. And this one is going to fire at that tank. And that's a miss. Back to the Soviets. Well, their finest hour perhaps, but don't think this is the best moment for it. Maybe they can do something more in the center, but they don't really have a lot of cards for that. For infantry units, well, maybe over here. That's something they could do and should do to really put some more pressure on the Germans there. Let's make it 2 on the Soviet right and 2 on the move. This unit is moving in here into the tank trap. And it is still able to fire. It would get one cover as well. This is an infantry unit. I think it should fire. This infantry unit is moving up. Supported infantry unit. And, well, can't fire anymore because it's moved to, and it's an on the move, obviously, which always prevents it from doing that. Yeah, this unit can, well, I might want to move here, but many of those infantry units have already used up their ability to use the collapsible boats and rafts. So another option would have been to build a bridge there across this one with collapsible boats and rafts, but yeah, it would really slow them down. So these 2 victory objectives are normally out of reach for the Germans in the playtests, for the Russians in the playtests I've been conducting so far, which again have been about 5 or 6. But that might have been an option. And this is the Berezina River, I believe. Not 100% sure. No, the Drut River, actually, this part of it. This is another one, to Dnieper. And this one is actually flooded in many places, which is also what the marsh terrain here represents. So it's very difficult to get through quickly. Another infantry I would like to move. Let's make it this one, I suppose. Okay, so that was the second on the move. Now we're going to have 2 Russian units firing. First, this one with 2 dice because the tanks are in the cover of the woods, but they do score 2 hits, a grenade and a tank. And this one would roll 3 dice, but it's 2 now because of the woods. And it's 2 stars, so they both miss. So the tank still survives for a little bit. The Russians draw another card, which is 1 in each section. And the Germans, I think they should use the armored assault now, because they probably won't really have another chance to do so. Or 1-1-1. Yeah, let's make it 1-1-1 because there's not going to be any kind of overrun over here because that tank can't move into that terrain, of course, because of the tank obstacle. Or 2-2. Well, 2-2 is no. Let's make it 1-1-1. So a recon in force. So the tank is going to fire in the center. This one over here, yeah, of course, we don't have a unit over there, so that's it, really. One die against the tanks. It's an infantry, so it's a miss. And this tank rolls 3 dice against that one. No, 2. 2. So let's re-roll that. Or actually all misses. 2, because the tank obstacle offers infantry 1 cover. And now they do roll 2 infantry hits. So that Russian unit is halved as well. There we go. Back to the Russians. Would their finest hour be an option? Not sure. Air power card. 3 on this side. Let's try that, maybe. Let's try that. So an attack on the left flank. 3 units and 1 on the move. Let's move out with the tank here. 1, 2, 3. Could have exited it but maybe now they can still fire, and exiting can still be done pretty quickly, of course, but they need at least 2 more tanks to come this way. 1, 2, 3. Not the best thing to do, I suppose, against infantry in a town. Not the best move, actually, but that one's in the center, so I can't actually do that. Well, I could do it as an on the move. Let's make it an on the move. And 1 more over here. Not quite sure if this is a very good move, but not all orders given by commanders were always good ones. Those tanks, of course, shouldn't be engaging full strength infantry from close range, even though flanks are also hits against the Germans here, but this is probably not a very good idea. Anyway, for now, let's target. Well, here I could at least target the same unit, but that one is more dangerous. 2 dice. No, just 1 die, actually. Just 1 die. And it's even a miss. And this unit also rolls 1 die against the same unit. And that's also a miss. So it definitely was a very bad idea on the part of the Russians to move the tanks over there, if for no other reason that yeah, they're really in a tough situation here, and if they get destroyed, it's 2 fewer units the Russians would actually be able to exit for a sudden death, which is really worth it, apart from the sudden death condition that they win the scenario right away, which they probably will anyway if play continues long enough. But they will also immediately take over all the objective medals, including the ones that they don't yet have in their possession, symbolizing the complete collapse of the German supply system and everything. Yeah, so they still do have 4 tank units, but without these 2, and I don't think that these ones will get there in time. So yeah, this was actually a pretty bad move, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's draw a new card for them. And let's see if the Germans can benefit from this relatively hasty Russian move. Well, they have the same card. But then again, of course, the German left being the Russian right, and vice versa. So 3 units on this side, and one on the move. Well, this is pretty obvious what's going to happen now. For the reasons I've just explained, they're going to try and take out, of course, the Russian tanks, which should have been saved for exploitation, which is not a term, of course, being used in toy, well, in toy neither, but Memoir 44. But yeah, that is what they did in military terms, or were supposed to be doing, and not to engage entrenched infantry. And I suppose you could consider them to be entrenched in these woods. First, this one, 3 dice, and also hitting on stars because they didn't move. Well, it's 1 hit only so far. 2 infantry and 1 grenade. This one is going to target that same tank with 3 dice. That's a tank and a grenade. So that's another medal for the Germans, who now have 13 medals. And the Russians have 13 as well. So far, it's still pretty close. But of course, the Russians have far more troops. And here, the Germans are going to roll 3 dice as well against these tanks. And that's 1 flag. They could take ground, but they're not. And I think this is a good time to stop this recording for now. The Germans have just drawn behind enemy lines, which is a very good card for them to have, and also a very good card to deny to the Russians, because in one of my previous playtests, what they did, of course, the behind enemy line cards allows you to move up to 3 spaces, battle with 1 more, additional die, and then again move up to 3 spaces. Well, the Russians had it once in one of the playtests, and they attacked. Yeah, you can ignore terrain restrictions. So they just took they took out a German unit, and well, maybe they weren't even here, but anyway, they took 2 of these town medals, objective medals, in one go. And of course, there's a benefit to having objective medals because you get bonuses at the end of a campaign for the number of, well, the more objective medals you control, the better it is, obviously. But as I said, for now, let's conclude this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, we'll continue playing, and I'll be posting that one as well shortly. For now, thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.